Ever reach for your phone charger and wonder, how'd they make this thing? Well,
Mhm.
you're about to find out. We're diving into the world of injection molding operators, the folks behind countless everyday products.
Yeah.
You've sent over some really interesting sources, and it seems like you're considering this as a career path. So let's uncover what it's really like beyond just the job description.
What's so fascinating is that many people, they don't realize how much of their daily life actually relies on injection molding.
Yeah.
That phone charger you just mentioned, your computer mouse, even parts of your car's dashboard, all likely involved an injection molding operator at some point.
Okay, that's already blowing my mind.
It's everywhere. You just don't realize it.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's rewind to the basics. What exactly does an injection molding operator do?
Okay, so imagine you have these metal molds, like super precise cookie cutters.
Okay.
The operator's job is to use these molds to shape basically molten plastic into that final product.
Oh, wow.
They're like the conductors of this manufacturing orchestra, right? They're ensuring everything runs smoothly and those plastic cookies come out perfectly.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So it's a very hands-on role, right?
Definitely, yeah.
What's a typical work environment like for an injection molding operator?
You're right. It's definitely hands-on. Think manufacturing plants, often bustling with activity. You've got the hum of machinery, maybe a bit of heat, depending on the materials being used. Safety is paramount, so operators are always decked out in gear, safety glasses, ear protection, sometimes even respirators if they're dealing with certain materials.
Yeah, the sources mention the work can be repetitive at times. Yeah.
Is that something that tends to bother people in this field?
It's true. There's a certain rhythm to the work, especially for those starting out. You might be overseeing a single machine, making sure it's fed with the right amount of material, that the mold is at the correct temperature, and that the final product is ejecting properly. This attention to detail is crucial. A small error can mean a whole batch is scrapped.
So you've really got to be on top of your game.
Absolutely.
Sounds like there's a lot of responsibility, even at an entry-level position.
Absolutely, but that's also what makes it so rewarding, right? As an operator, you're directly responsible for quality control. You're the last line of defense against defects, and that role in ensuring those products meet high standards is something many operators take pride in.
Right.
That makes sense. It's like you said earlier, even something as small as a phone charger has to meet certain standards to function properly, and behind that is an injection molding operator making sure it all comes together.
Exactly. And that kind of brings us to what I find so exciting about this field, the potential for growth. It's not a dead-end job by any means.
Right. The sources mention a few different career paths. Could you walk us through how someone might climb the ladder in this field?
Absolutely. So let's say you start as an entry-level operator, right? You're getting comfortable with the machinery, the process. As you gain experience, you might move into a junior operator role. Now you're not just running one machine, you're overseeing a few, troubleshooting basic issues, maybe even training newer operators.
So more responsibility, more problem solving. Sounds like you've got to have a knack for that.
You got it. And that's where things get really interesting. As you progress to a senior operator role, you're the go-to person on the floor. Imagine a mold isn't filling properly. You're the one analyzing the problem, adjusting the temperature, pressure, maybe even tweaking that plastic's viscosity to get it just right.
Wow.
You're like the detective of the production line.
That's a great way to put it. It sounds like you need a good mix of technical skills and that on-your-feet problem-solving ability to really excel.
Exactly. And don't forget about the technology aspect. The industry is rapidly evolving, with things like robotic arms assisting in the process and computer-aided design, or CAD, being used to create incredibly complex molds.
Right. The sources mention CNC machining as well.
Yeah.
Can you break down what that is and how it plays into injection molding?
Sure. CNC stands for Computer Numerical Control. Basically, it's a way to automate the process of creating those highly precise molds I mentioned earlier. Instead of manual tools, a computer guides the cutting tools to shape the metal with incredible accuracy. It's revolutionized the industry, allowing for much more intricate and detailed designs.
So an injection molding operator needs to be comfortable with both the hands-on aspects and this increasingly high-tech side of things.
Absolutely. Think of it this way. The operator is the bridge between the digital designs and the physical products. They need to understand how those designs translate into real-world manufacturing challenges and be able to adjust accordingly.
Yeah, it makes this career path sound far more dynamic than people might realize.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of keeping things exciting, the sources emphasize the importance of continuous learning in this field. Why is that so crucial for injection molding operators?
That's a great point. Remember how we talked about the industry evolving rapidly? Well, that means new materials are always being developed, new manufacturing techniques are emerging, and those computer-aided systems are constantly getting more sophisticated. An operator who's not willing to learn and adapt, they're going to get left behind.
So it's not just about mastering the skills you need for day one on the job.
Right.
It's about constantly expanding your knowledge base. What are some ways operators can stay ahead of the curve?
Oh, there are tons of options. Many companies offer on-the-job training to keep their employees up to date with the latest technologies and processes. Then you got online courses, workshops, even professional associations dedicated to injection molding. Some operators even pursue certifications to demonstrate their expertise.
Wow, so it sounds like there's no shortage of ways to keep learning and growing in this career. Now, for those listening who are intrigued by this career path, what are some of the biggest pros and cons they should be weighing?
That's a great question. Let's start with the pros. Firstly, the job market is hot right now. Demand for skilled injection molding operators is high, and many companies are even struggling to fill positions. That translates into good salary potential, even for those just starting out.
So it's a career path with a lot of job security and room for advancement.
Yeah.
That's got to be appealing to anyone considering this field. What about the other side of the coin? What are some of the downsides people should be aware of?
Well, like we mentioned before, the work can be repetitive, especially at the entry level.
Right.
It's not for everyone. And while safety protocols are in place, you are working in an industrial environment. There's always the potential for hazards if proper procedures aren't followed.
That's a good point. You need to be someone who is comfortable working with machinery, potentially hazardous materials, and who understands the importance of following safety guidelines to a T.
Exactly. And while the job outlook is positive overall, it's worth noting that certain factors, like automation, could impact the industry down the line.
Right, that's where that continuous learning aspect comes in again. Operators who are adaptable and embrace new technologies will be better positioned for whatever the future holds.
Exactly. It's about having a mindset of lifelong learning and a passion for the ever-evolving world of manufacturing.
It sounds like this is a field where you can never stop learning and growing.
Precisely. There's always something new to discover, whether it's a new material, a more efficient process, or the latest software for designing and producing molds.
So for someone listening who might be thinking, this sounds intriguing, but I'm not sure it's the right fit for me, what would you say are the key personality traits or interests that might indicate someone would thrive in this kind of role?
That's a great question. If you're someone who enjoys hands-on work, who loves the idea of taking a raw material and turning it into a tangible product, this field could be a good match.
It's like you're part of the creation process, right? You see those designs come to life.
Exactly. And if you have a natural curiosity for how things work, if you enjoy problem solving and the challenge of optimizing a process, those are all great signs.
And let's not forget that detail-oriented mindset we talked about. You've really got to be on top of things to ensure those products meet the highest standards.
Absolutely. Precision is key in this field. But it's not just about being meticulous, right? It's about having the adaptability and willingness to learn and grow alongside the technology that's constantly reshaping the industry.
So a passion for lifelong learning is a must. It sounds like this career path might be especially appealing to someone who maybe enjoyed tinkering with things growing up, someone who always wants to understand how things work and how to make them better.
You hit the nail on the head. This field rewards those who are always eager to expand their knowledge and embrace new challenges. And who knows, maybe someday they'll be the ones pioneering the next big innovation in injection molding technology.
Now that's a thought. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you'd want to leave our listener with today?
Well, if you're looking for a career that blends hands-on skills with cutting-edge technology, a field with tangible results and real growth potential, then the world of injection molding might just be the perfect fit.
And to bring it back to where we started, the next time you pick up your phone charger or any other everyday object made of plastic, take a moment to appreciate the skill and precision of the injection molding operators who helped make it a reality. You might be surprised by how much of our modern world is shaped by this fascinating field.
Well said. It's a career path with a lot to offer those who are ready to dive in and make their mark.
This has been a fascinating exploration into the world of injection molding. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the day-to-day realities of the job to the exciting career paths and the vital role these professionals play in our modern world.
It's been a pleasure sharing my insights with you and our listener. Hopefully we've shed some light on this, often overlooked but incredibly important field.
And for our listener, we encourage you to keep exploring. The resources you sent us are a great starting point, but there's a whole world of information out there waiting to be discovered. Who knows, maybe this deep dive has sparked a passion for a whole new career path.